Alright, here we are. This is my air conditioner and water heater experiment. Um, this is my 12 volt power supply. It's converting the AC into DC with a 12 volt output. What I got here is um, a water cooling block with the two tubes coming out of it. Sandwich on either side outside of it is two sets of TEC, thermoelectric coolers. So there's two on each side. Those are the wires coming out of that. And then outside of those is the heat sinks. You got one on each side here. These are aluminum heat sinks. The water cooling block is also aluminum. The output, which is the top hose here, goes to this water pump here. So that's the inlet, and then the outlet comes up here. The tube goes up here, and you'll see, not sure if you can tell, it stops about halfway down. And then the idea is the hotter water is going down. Then you got down here at the bottom, this is your cold water, and that's feeding up there and into that inlet right there at the bottom tube. So the whole point of this setup is you've got these TECs, there's 4 of them in all, getting power, they're getting powered right now. And then you got the insides of them, so where the water block is the hot side of it. And so while that's getting hot, this water is being fed through the water block and it's keeping it cool. And the water is going to eventually get hot on its own. In the meantime, the other side of these TECs, the outside, is getting extremely cold. You can see that frost is forming on these heat sinks here. If I don't blow the room air on it long enough. So what you'll end up finding is that I'm cooling the air on the outside while I'm warming up the water slowly on the inside. And given the amount of heat, thermal energy that water can contain, you'll find that you can actually run this for quite a while before the water actually ever gets hot. So I'm going to run this experiment, see how long it takes before the water gets to, I would say, a considerably warm temperature, if not hot temperature. And that'll give me an idea of how long I can run this thing before it reaches capacity. After that, I just got to figure out the load, the energy load that's put on this, and compare that with a water heater and an AC unit of comparable size. I'll have to scale things a little bit. Thank you very much for watching. Hey guys, so this is going on 27 minutes now. I'm finding that it's still cold air coming through here. Looks like the water would ice on this if I gave it a chance. I've been moving this fan between the two heat sinks pretty regularly, so it hasn't had a chance to really ice over. The water is pretty warm. I would say it's about as hot as you'd want your coffee to be. It's not scalding hot, but it's certainly not cool either. Looks like there's even some condensation forming up here, maybe from the heat from the water. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna wait for another 10 or 15 minutes or so, see if this continues to increase in temperature or if we seem to plateau here. This is my first time ever doing this, so I'm not really sure how this works. So this is after 45 minutes of running. Again, this is 4 TECs, 1 water cooling block, 2 heat sinks, and I don't know, what is that, like a gallon of water right there, roughly, gallon and a quarter maybe, I don't know. Anyways, it's actually getting pretty hot now, so I'm pretty pleased with what we have going on here. This is just a prototype, so I think the only thing I could do to improve on this is obviously if I want to use this as a water heater, then I would have to have a much larger tank. This would be insulated. I wouldn't even increase the size of the motor, because I feel like this is actually moving the water a bit too fast for this setup that I have here. But for a full, what is it, 20 gallon, 15 gallon water heater, I think this would do fine. I don't know my standards for appliances, so I apologize if I sound like an idiot right now. The radiator, instead of using heat sinks, I would need a radiator to dissipate the heat, or to absorb the heat a lot faster, a lot more efficiently. Instead of using 4 TECs, I would like to use an array of maybe 8 or 16. I feel like this is something, it took me 40 minutes to just get to this for 1 gallon. I think it needs to be a little bit more efficient or a little bit faster, especially if I'm going to compete with something like your typical water heaters right now. So right now the setup is a bit slow. This would all need to be built probably with these right next to the water heater, probably in some sort of compartment built onto the side of the water heater, because having these tubes right now is leaking heat into the air that I'm trying to cool down. So that's not very efficient as well. Anyways, I don't normally do these videos. It's actually one of like the maybe third kind I've ever done. So let me know if I've made myself into an idiot or anything, guys. If there's anything I can improve upon, I'd love to hear it, and look forward to seeing what you guys have to say.